When I moved back to the Philippines in the mid-1990s, the availability of authentic or good Italian food was scarce. Groceries did not carry made-in-Italy products back then. Pastas, for example, were all locally made, and compared to Italian-made pastas, the quality was less than ideal. It was impossible to achieve al dente with local pastas. Italian sugo di pomodoro or tomato sauce were nowhere to be found. Olive oil was available but very expensive and likewise very scarce. Even herbs like parsley and basil were not readily available in the markets or grocery stores. Fast forward to the 2000s and to the present day, what a welcome world of change. Grocery store aisles are lined with imported pastas, not just from Italy, but also from Australia, Indonesia, Turkey, and other countries. Italian-made pasta is still my choice, but it's interesting how pastas from other countries are trying to catch up in quality. For example, Australian-made pastas, which are available in most grocery stores nowadays, are a good substitute to Italian-made pastas, though really still not the same quality. Here are some brands of Italian-made products that you will now see in Philippine grocery stores. Many grocery stores now also carry parsley, though the flat Italian parsley is still not so common, but can be found. Curly parsley is more common, and celery, unlike before, is also common now. Dried rosemary, thyme, oregano, basil, bay leaves are available in most grocery stores. Fresh herbs can also be found via plant vendors, and nowadays some Filipinos actually keep fresh ones in a pot at home. Today, we will be making the rich meat-based sauce bolognese, based on the authentic recipe but compromised by ingredient availability. But before that, let me share a bit of the history of this famous sauce. Bolognese sauce, the controversial Italian meat sauce, or as the OGs in Italy would say, ragu alla bolognese, loosely translated as meat sauce from Bologna. Oh, and there are many versions of it around the world, and from kitchen to kitchen, even in Italy, every mamma or nonna would claim their many generations old family ragu bolognese as the original. And somehow, they are right, because original means the one first created. And from family to family, household to household, the heirloom sauce as their very own original holds true, right? Right. Only, it's not quite right. Let's see why not. Bologna is a city located in the northern part of the boot-shaped Italian peninsula, in the Emilia-Romagna region to be exact. It is the 7th largest city in Italy with about 1 million population in its metropolitan area. It is home to around 150 different nationalities. It is also home to the oldest university in the world, which started teaching classes around 1150. It is renowned as the food capital of Italy because of its rich cuisine, and the latter is the subject of this vlog. We mentioned that Bologna is the food capital of Italy, so just what are the typical foods from Bologna? Well, the two most famous foods will have to be the namesake Bologna sausage, also known as baloney in some other countries, and ragu alla bolognese, the famous meat sauce. Ironically, bolognese sauce did not originate from the city of Bologna, but rather from Imola, a town just 40 kilometers to the east, where the rich meat sauce was first created. It was in the 19th century that the city of Bologna started to claim it as its own. And sure enough, if you go to Bologna today, you will find that the locals have actually registered the authentic, original, and only acceptable recipe at the Bologna Chamber of Commerce. So what does this mean for all the mammas, nonnas, and other cooks in Italy and around the world who do not cook bolognese the way the people of Bologna meant it, yet claim it as their original? Well, nothing really, except that now they cannot claim theirs as authentic. So, there are multitudes of versions of ragu alla bolognese, and many variations have developed from the authentic version. Some recipes call for more tomatoes, some add garlic, or rosemary or parsley or bay leaves. However, what cannot change is the sofrito, or the aromatic mix of onion, carrots, and celery. This trio forms the base of the ragu bolognese. Add some pancetta, ground meat, wine, tomato sauce, and you're all set. Simple enough, right? Well, again, yes and no. See, Italian cuisine is based on simple ingredients. Whatever is available locally, ask any Italian, and they will say that the most important thing is the quality and freshness of the said ingredients. Simple enough. Except that Italians are very particular in the process and with the quality of their food, as is with ragu alla bolognese. The version we are making today is a family favorite, based on the authentic recipe but limited by ingredient availability. What you'll need: cooking oil, onions chopped, bacon or pancetta. Pancetta is one of the ingredient limitations as only a few grocery chains carry pancetta. Celery stalks chopped, carrots chopped. You will also need ground beef, ground pork. Italians usually add ground veal, but unfortunately, we don't have that readily available in most grocery stores in the Philippines. You'll need tomato paste, milk, mixed stock of pork, beef, and chicken bone, canned Italian tomatoes. If these are not available in your area, use local tomato sauce. Original flavor, please, not the sweet one. Dry white wine or red wine. Do not use sweet wine as you will end up with a sweet sauce. Salt and pepper. And of course, you'll need pasta. Again, limited by choices here in the Philippines. Pappardelle and tagliatelle are the traditional pastas to use with the bolognese sauce, but these pastas are hard to find and are sold in only a very few stores. I have been able to buy them previously at Santi's and Corinthian Hills, Quezon City. Santi's, baka naman. So, if pappardelle and tagliatelle are not available, you may opt for fettuccine, rigatoni or penne, even fusilli. And you can also use lasagna and make a lasagna instead. Just please never use spaghetti or a light pasta like linguine. Why? Because ragu alla bolognese is meat-based, it is heavy and needs a heavy pasta to support the sauce. Right, let's get cooking now. First, and very critical to bolognese, you will have to make the sofrito. The sofrito is made from chopped onions, celery, and carrots. Chop them finely, especially the celery, as this is a very fibrous ingredient, which you want to disappear into the sauce. I like to use a large white onion, or 2 medium ones. The ratio of carrots and celery should be 50-50 and slightly less than the onions. Take your time chopping the sofrito ingredients as you want them all more or less the same size. Next, get your bacon and dice them. If you already have pre-diced bacon, then better. And if you have pancetta, then even better. Add the bacon or pancetta to a very large pan or stock pot with 2 tablespoons of oil. You want to render the fat from the meat, so this will take a few minutes. After the bacon or pancetta has slightly browned, meaning the flavor is extracted, add the onion, carrots, and celery. Saute and mix all together. This next process of cooking down the sofrito will take some time, so be ready and be patient. Leave on medium to low heat, stirring and mixing a few times so your sofrito doesn't burn. The veggies need to cook down and caramelize, around 15 minutes. When you see the carrots acquire brown edges, you will know that you are ready for the next step, which is adding the meat. Make sure your meat is at room temperature. Add the meat gradually, meaning if you are cooking 1 kilo of meat, add only half of it at first. Break up the ground meat and mix every now and then. Let this first batch cook until it achieves that grayish-brown color. Then add the other half. The reason for this is that you want the meat to slightly caramelize. Bits of it should stick at the bottom of your pan, but be careful not to burn any of it. Those veggies and now the meat that stick to the bottom of the pan are layers of flavor that we will all gather together after deglazing them with some dry white wine or red wine and some stock that you hopefully have. But first, we need to add the tomato paste. Do this and stir the mixture of meat and paste so that the flavor of tomatoes mixes with the meat. Continue to stir about 1 minute. You will begin to smell a smokiness. That is the tomato paste reacting with the bottom of your pan. Make sure not to burn anything. Once you have achieved that smokiness, it is now time to add your wine. Make sure you scrape the bottom of the pan with the wine so the flavors from the veggies, the meat, the tomato paste, and wine are all mixed together. After the wine has all dried up, it is time to add the canned tomatoes. Also, add salt and pepper at this point. Again, mix everything together and let simmer for a few minutes. The aroma that you will get from this is the first whiff of ragu alla bolognese that will tickle you and entrance your nose and make your mouth water. This aroma will linger in your kitchen and whole house for the next couple of hours. Okay then, to continue, if you think your sauce is getting dry, then it's time to move on to the next step. Again, you will need patience as this will last at least a couple of hours. Italians will cook their sauce for a much longer time, say at least 3 to 4 hours. But this is my recipe, and when I smell that delicate but delicious and irresistible aroma, I can't wait to eat. Get your broth. Don't be afraid to use bouillons if you do not have bone stock, although bone stock is really the number one option. Add a little at a time, just enough to cover your meat mixture by a tiny bit. Simmer on low heat and keep watch. When the liquid evaporates, add some more stock. You can start adding the milk as well, which helps in tenderizing the meat. Do this every time the liquid evaporates. The reason for this repetitive process and not adding all the liquid at once is because we do not want to boil the meat. After 2 hours, every room in the house should smell yummy and your sauce should finally be done. Hopefully, you will already have started boiling water for your pasta. But guess what? As with other meat stews, ragu alla bolognese gets better after a few hours or even the next day, after all the flavors have been given a chance to mix and settle down. So if you plan to eat for lunchtime, make sure you start preparing early in the morning so that your bolognese gets some time to settle down. Believe me, the taste will mature and your mouth will love it. Okay, so hopefully you will have cooked the pasta of your choice, which, as previously discussed, is, I am sure, not spaghetti. I hope you try this recipe soon, and please share your feedback here if you would like to see more cooking content from us. By the way, there is a local brand of pasta that passed my quality test. It is the Ideal brand, made by Ideal Macaroni and Spaghetti Factory Incorporated. And it's available in most grocery stores. Fun fact, as the pandemic wore on back in 2020, our chef's son and us created Cucina Nostra, an online food business where our Italian recipes could be ordered. We expanded the menu to include some Filipino fusion cuisines. We'll paste the details below in case some of you want to try us out. Well, that's all for now. Arrivederci! If you enjoyed this content or found it helpful, please like and subscribe.